Now we're live. So you know. Art.
Yeah,
Mark Kaminsky might be running late. I mean, he's hoping because he has another planning board meeting in Rhinebeck.
which one is he on?
Lack Winokur.
Oh, okay. Well, by the time he should be here by then.
Aren't they virtual too?
Yeah, they are.
And you just have two different laptops going and do both?
That's right. You could do that.
Okay, do we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're missing Paul and Sarah and Jerry.
And the applicants.
We've got 3 applicants.
All right, let's see who they are.
Well, we need 3 board members here.
Here's Sarah. You have 5 board members now. Here
Okay,
comes Jerry.
okay. Now, I'm gonna start. By the time I finish reading this, I'm sure we'll have everybody in. I'd like to call the Town of Clinton Planning Board virtual meeting to order at 7:31 on Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and pursuant to Executive Order number 202.1 issued on March 12, 2020, suspending the open meetings law and emergency state and federal bans on large meetings or gatherings, the Town of Clinton Planning Board scheduled for January 19th, 2021 will be held electronically via Zoom instead of a public meeting open for the public to attend in person. Members of the public may view the board meeting as it is live streamed on YouTube. www.townofclinton.com/government/planning-board-videos/ A transcript of the meeting will be posted on the town's website at a later date. Okay, the first item on the agenda is the BCDE Family LLP. Do we have anybody in the room?
You've got Doug Larson and Jacob Harden.
Okay, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very good, very good.
Happy New Year.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
We're back.
If you can, on your variance application here, can you briefly explain what you need and then we'll discuss it?
Okay, we had prepared an application to the zoning enforcement officer. Well, he kicked us to the building inspector who sent us a denial letter because we would like to move a shed and turn it into a pool house and build a pool. So the pool is an addition of an accessory structure. The moving of the shed, I think, is probably accessory structure neutral. But if you remember, we also wanted to demolish an A-frame, which is an accessory structure. So we are proposing to remove an accessory structure, add an accessory structure, and relocate an accessory structure. So the 2 objections were that, 1, we were moving a non-conforming use, which is the shed, to another location on the property. And there was also an objection that we were over the count of allowable accessory structures, but I'm not sure how that squares with our calculation of being neutral in the number of accessory structures. So thank you, Arlene. So the area you can see circled in red there at the top of the screen near the pond is the shed that we would like to move down and slightly to the west. So it looks like there's two structures there, but there's not. We would like to move the one at the top down to the left and then put a pool in front of it. And oh, that's the A-frame, I'm sorry. This is the existing conditions. So there's the shed and the A-frame. So then we need to go to the next slide.
You want to the A-frame?
Could you go to the next? Oh, go to another page. Keep going.
No, these are all pictures.
Okay, back up a slide. No, one more. I'm sorry. I think we're going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the
The
A-frame
A-frame?
we'd like to demolish, right? That's the A-frame we've already demolished. Can you go back to sheet 5, please? Page 5. There's the shed we'd like to relocate and repurpose as a pool house. Keep going back.
Back or?
Back, please. No, you're going up to.
Oh, sorry, down.
I need to go back. Now you're on 9. I need to go back to page 4 or 5.
What page is this? This one.
Yeah, page 5 is the existing shed that we're proposing to relocate. And on page 6 is the A-frame that we are demolishing.
Am I pulling the right one? Because you send me different stuff. Hold on. I don't
Stop.
It's
know. Is this
it's
the right
the
sheet?
Go back up one more to number 5. 5 of 12,
Oh,
right?
I'm sorry, A5, which is page 6. Arlene was on the correct page.
Okay.
You do have the correct set, the latest set.
Okay. A5, A6.
Right there.
Right there. That's the this is the existing shed that we are proposing to relocate. And the opposite and there's a section that the zoning officer pointed out that you can't relocate a non-conforming use to another part of the property. And the non-conforming use comes into play because we're non-conforming on the number of structures.
I think we should show the proposed plan. Jacob, with the pool and the relocated shed.
What
Which
sheet
sheet?
is that?
That is sheet A10, which is page 11. So A10, there we go. One more. Just the previous
Yeah,
page.
this is the last one. Oh, on the A10. Okay.
Yeah, A10.
Can you enlarge the left-hand screen with the red bubble around it? Thank you, Arlene.
Oh, hold on. Now I lost it. Pardon me.
Okay. All right, I think we have the idea. We know what the problem is here. Just to let you know, the variance is a two-step process. The planning board will give a positive, negative, or no recommendation to the zoning board. And they will make the final decision on the variance. Let's see, that's Justin.
Yep.
What do you got for us?
So there's three variances here that all basically derive out of the fact that the original property had 8 accessory structures on it. Depending on how you do the math, right? We have a question of, does the pool house and the pool count as 2, or are they 1? Or when are you doing the math? Like, since they already demolished them, are they down to 7? And so now if you added another one to 8, or can you count it as net? I don't really know the answer. I don't know that I care. But essentially, right, they had 8 to begin with. They've lost 1, which brings you down to 7. They're relocating another one of those structures, and then they're building the pool. So you're either adding on the pool, which gets you up to a net of 8, so a net 0, zero net gain or loss of accessory structures, or the pool and the pool house are combined, in which case you have a net decrease in accessory structures. But variance 1 is just the fact that any new building, right, is going to be over the 3 building limit. So that was the first one in the letter. The second one is that since, as I think Jacob said, since you have more than the 3 structures, any movement to any of these existing 8 is non-conforming. You're moving a non-conforming building, so you need a variance to move an existing structure over 3. And then lastly, the last piece of variance is that anything being altered has to conform with circular, right, back to there being 3 buildings. So really, in my mind, it all derives out of the fact that there's more than 3 buildings. We've kind of been over this a number of times with the wetland application. The building that's being moved is the one by the lake that is going to be moved out of the wetlands buffer, to where that other A-frame building is, and the pool gets built. That work is outside of the wetlands buffer. I don't know what else there is to go over. I don't know what our view is on moving or improving structures when they're over a grandfathered limit of 3.
What
Let me just
was
say
this?
something. Art,
When originally, was this a farm?
This was originally a farm, yes.
It was a farm. Do you know when these structures were built? We have 8 structures. Let's go with 8, just for the sake of clarity here.
Well, they
Yeah,
all,
Were they
most of them
built
date
when-
from the 1800s.
Okay, were they built when this was a farm, or any more recent?
Some of them were built when it was a camp. It was a camp after it was a farm.
Okay.
It was a camp for many, many years.
The latest structure, well, there's 2 to this. The A-frame is one of the later structures, which is a 1960 structure, but the garage was the garage that has the apartment above was an older structure, possibly from the late 1800s, that was rebuilt in the 90s, and there was a building permit issued for that. And that would have been the latest, but that was building an existing structure.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a barn and it was rebuilt as a garage with an apartment, and we do have the building department paperwork on that structure.
Okay. Do we have any comments from the board? Does anybody have any opinions on this?
It's Paul. I don't think the second and third categories of variances are, I don't know if we can overrule the CEO, but I don't think they're needed. The use issue is not applicable. The shed isn't non-conforming because of its use. It's just non-conforming because of the number of buildings. And the use is not, that section pertains to uses. So if this were being used as a, oil refinery or something, you know what I mean? It's not conforming use, but that shed is just a shed. So moving it is not an issue. And as Justin said, it's net neutral to move it. And then the last thing, non-conforming buildings or structures, it says you can make alterations and extensions of them as long as they conform with the zoning. And maybe he's referring to the fact, the putting water into the building, which there's a ruling on that says if it's a pool house, it can have water in it. And this is going to be a pool house. So I agree with Justin's analysis. You're actually net negative one structure when this is all said and done, which seems like a better situation than we have now. Because it's one structure, pool and pool house, and you're losing the A-frame. So you're down one structure. I just don't see how the other two, I see the first one I understand because you're adding the pool and it's a new structure, but I don't see why they need the other two. But, I would be positive on this just because you're net negative one structure. Or at least neutral.
I agree with Paul. I think that's exactly how I see it too.
Anybody else want to chime in here?
I'm positive because you're not only going, I think, net down one, but you're also getting that structure out of the wetlands buffer.
Right. And my view on this is that apparently a lot of these structures were built, one, when it was a farm, when it was a camp, pre-zoning. I have a positive reaction to this, as Paul and Justin have on this. And it is a one negative as I see it. So that's just my opinion on it.
So what is the planned use for this property? You say it was a camp, so is that going to continue to be a camp, or what's planned use?
No, it's a single family residence.
The camp closed in 1972.
It's been used as a residence since the camp closed. It was just rented out.
Yeah, the use has been discontinued. That's gone.
The camp use has been discontinued, right?
Yeah, there are no plans to open this as a camp or anything of that nature.
No, we're renovating the house for a gentleman and his wife. They have 2 children who are starting families. So it's a family property.
Okay. We don't have, Justin, do you have something on this?
Sure. I'll say it as positive unless anyone wants to object, but resolution of the Town of Clinton Planning Board making a positive recommendation to the Zoning Board of Appeals on the requested variances to section 250.22, 250.81, and 250.83 regarding accessory structures requested by BCDE Family LP and property located at 191 to 195 East Meadowbrook Lane in the Town of Clinton, parcel number in an AR3 zoning district. Whereas the applicant is requesting variances to demolish an existing A-frame accessory dwelling, construct a new pool at said A-frame location, relocate and convert an existing shed into a pool house with a bath and wet bar. The property is an 80-acre lot in an AR3 zoning district. The property is not within the Ridgeline Scenic and Historic Protection Overlay District. The property is not in the CEA. The variances requested are substantial as the property currently has 8 accessory structures, which is over the limit of 3 in the town code. However, if the variances are granted, there will be no net increase in the number of accessory dwellings currently on the property, accessory structures currently on the property. An undesirable change will not be produced in the character of the neighborhood or be detrimental to nearby properties, as the accessory structure will not be visible from the road or neighboring properties. The planning board has previously reviewed this proposal in connection with the owner's application for a wetlands permit, and after SEQRA review granted the wetlands permit in order to demolish the A-frame house and move the shed out of the wetlands buffer to a proposed location to be converted to a pool house. The benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method. The proposed variance should not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical and environmental conditions of the neighborhood. The alleged difficulty is self-created, but should not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. Now therefore be it resolved, the planning board is making a positive recommendation for the approval of this requested variance to the Clinton ZBA.
Second,
Discussion? All those in favor?
Justin,
Tracy,
I.
I.
Art, aye.
Sarah, I.
Jerry, I.
Paul, I.
Okay, so moved. Okay, guys, your next step is the zoning board of appeals.
Okay,
Excellent. Thank you for your time.
all right, thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the Del Forno area variance. Is anybody here in the room for that?
Unmute. You have to unmute, Ed. You gotta check your screen. Unmute.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Arlene. Is that better?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and your name, please? Can't hear you.
Edward Del Forno?
Okay. This is a two-step process. The planning board will review your application and give a recommendation to the zoning board of appeals, either yay, nay, or a neutral recommendation. And they will make the final decision on your application.
Okay.
Okay, so can you briefly tell us what you're doing here?
Yes, I would like to obtain a building permit and a variance to complete a one-story 14 by 24 shed / garage with 40 square feet of storage. Total square feet of the unit would be 376 square feet with no electric, no plumbing, no heat, no insulation. And I'm asking for a reduction from the 50-foot setback to approximately 27 feet. And reason being is if I place it in that, my property is very steep and very tall trees, over 100 feet tall. And it's basically the only place I have to put it. And my house has a 2-story garage, which is adjacent to that. If I put it closer to the 2-story garage, that's where my entrance and exit is currently. It doesn't leave me enough room for my vehicles, my snowplow, and for oil trucks and delivery vehicles to have room to turn around.
Okay. Jack? We got Jack here?
Jack, unmute,
Yeah,
Jack.
that's the same problem. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, the file on this includes a violation notice for construction without a building permit. What can you tell us about that?
I didn't realize at the time that I started constructing, I didn't know that I needed a permit for a building that was so small. That was my error. I apologize for that. I was giving the stop work order, and since then I have not done any work whatsoever.
We got a, Arlene just forwarded it to us. Looks like an email from Nancy White. Is that your neighbor?
Yes, that's the neighbor that owns the 2.49 acre parcel.
Yeah, saying that she thinks work was done after the stop work order was
That's
issued.
not correct, and you can check John Fenton was here, and I believe he walked all around. And since then, the only thing that I did request from John, and he gave me an email to that effect, was he was allowing me to install what I call hurricane ties on the rafters, just because it gets very windy up here, and I did put in some of those, but no other work was completed since the stop work order was issued.
I drove over and took a look at the property. There was no one there at the time, but there's a sign at the entrance that says you're a licensed real estate broker. Is that so?
That is correct.
And you didn't know that a building permit would be required for a 376 square foot building?
No, I did not.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I mean, the neighbor's obviously unhappy about this. And there's some kind of a structure on their side of the line. I don't know whether it's 50 feet or not. I didn't check it.
So you did see their structure?
Yeah, I did.
I'm glad to hear that. Yes.
Is it a cottage or it looks like a cottage of some sort?
I believe he uses it as an art studio. I don't know for sure. I know there's electric in there. I don't know if there's any water in there or not. I know there's heat and electric.
I mean, I couldn't tell whether that was 50 feet or not, frankly. It looked like it might be.
It looks like it's on my property, doesn't it?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's a wall.
Yeah, that wall is it's been disintegrated there ever since I moved in. It's been taken apart there at that section. If you were to walk down there.
Well,
excuse me?
It's this Jack. Look at the screen.
I'm sorry?
Look at the screen.
Yeah, I see it. It doesn't show on the photo unless if you move your cursor a little to the left, that may be it.
You want
the structure.
Yeah, there it is. I think that's it. If the problem I've got is that because this was done without a permit, and without coming to us for a variance first, and it's pretty far along. It's framed out. It's got walls. If the ZBA doesn't want to give the variance, then it puts everybody in a difficult situation.
So, I know the complaint that my neighbor has is that she can see a portion of it this time of year through the trees. When it's summertime, she's not going to be able to see it at all. Right now, she can probably only see 10% of it, although I have to look at her structure, as you saw, 100% of the time. The other thing is, besides they're not going to be able to see it when the leaves are on the trees. They can barely see it now. The other thing is, they have two other homes. They spend the summers in Maine. They spend the other one in New York City. They're rarely here. I couldn't understand that. I don't understand their rationale why they're so upset or something. That if you see these trees here on the property line, they're bare now, but those trees are all maples and they get trees on them. They're not going to be able to see it once the leaves are on the trees. And if they're concerned of being to see the structure, I look at their structure when I'm in my yard. I see theirs. I see theirs 100% all the time. That's their complaint.
I understand that. It's also visible from the road, isn't it?
Only if you go down to the road, there's maybe 10 feet where you might see the peak of the roof. The house and the structure is not visible from the road. There's a parcel in the back.
I drove by it. It is visible.
You can see it if you're driving down a road. There's about 10 feet. If you're looking up, you can see it. You can see the roof peak. You can't see the whole structure.
All right.
It goes up a hill.
I'd be curious as to the views of everybody else on the board.
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because Casal is a neighbor that's on the southern end. They're on 20.65 acres. There's no way that they're nowhere near that. It's down on the bottom of the screen. On the back of me, which borders half of my property, is 50 acres that Krempa owns with no structure on it whatsoever. And then past that, across the road, there's 50 acres. And on the other side of me, what you can't see any time of year is not bordering my property because Krempa owns a 40-foot piece along the top of the screen there. You can't see anything. You know, I can't believe that the site of the building is their major complaint.
I don't know what's in their mind. I just know that we have a situation where somebody has gone forward without a building permit and done quite a lot of work, and you know, and it limits what the ZBA can do here. I would be curious as to the views of the other people on the planning board.
Yes.
My own thought is that I don't see how we can make a positive recommendation and tie the board's hands even further on this if they are unhappy about the violation. So to me, it's a choice between a neutral or a negative, but I would, you know, be curious as to what other folks think.
Do we have any comments from anybody on the board?
Is there nowhere else, this is Sarah Love, is there nowhere else on the property to put this
Well,
structure? I mean,
there's not, because if you look at the satellite view, those tall pine trees are about over 125 feet tall. And then besides that, there's only a portion of plateau at the top. It's a very steep hill going up and it's a steep hill going down. There's no other, I mean, you know, if I wanted to spend, you know, $100,000 and bulldoze and take trees down, I guess anything is possible, but it's not realistically possible.
so, I mean, and this is purely for parking your vehicles in?
Yes, I was going to pull in either my pickup truck or my tractor.
This is a second garage?
Yes. I have three vehicles and then a tractor. So I have 2 cars in a 2-car garage. I have my pickup truck that I keep outside right now, and I have my tractor that I keep outside.
The
Plowing, yes,
the existing garage is attached to the house, right?
that is correct, sir.
I thought so.
And
Jack,
Jack,
did you go and see this, and do you know if the work continued from, we don't have a picture in our packet of the angle that we were emailed today to see
I
if that
have it.
extended
Hold on.
new or not.
I have it.
I don't know. I just saw the, I was there, Saturday, I guess. So whatever was done by then. So I just don't know.
Arlene,
I'm
you have
sure.
other photos?
Yeah, hold on. I'm pulling it up.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see it?
Yes, that's what we
Yes.
were.
Email from the neighbor, the latest. This is the email that came in
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes.
Okay, so if you were to check with John Fenton, he walked around that structure, when was that, a couple of weeks ago? A week and a half ago, he would verify that's where it was. Since he left, there has been not one piece of wood put up. The only piece of wood that was put up is one 2x6 for a brace, which I did ask for permission to do, just to make it secure from the wind.
Are
And I
you,
do have an email to that effect.
are you doing this work yourself or you have a contractor?
I was doing it myself with my son and my wife
Okay,
and my tractor.
okay.
Hold on.
Anybody else have any comments on this?
I mean, my
a
theoretical issue is that I just feel like we exist to prevent these kind of neighbor disputes so that you can make these proposals, have the neighbors weigh in, come to a resolution before anyone is out any money or work. And right, even in some scenarios where people don't realize they need a permit, if the neighbor's okay with it, then we kind of, are okay to grant it in reverse. But this is the first time I've seen where they went forward without the permit and now the neighbor is not happy with it. And I feel like if we just, let it go on, we're kind of endorsing this behavior. And then people are going to say, oh, I should just build first and ask for, forgiveness later. And I just think I'm worried about the precedent that sets. Even if this was done in advance, we might have gotten to where we said, yes, this is the only place it can go and this is what's fair and we'll live with it. But it didn't happen here. And I feel it makes me nervous.
I agree.
Okay. Paul, anything?
Is there anything that could be done to, screen the building off from the neighboring?
Yes, of course. Well, as I mentioned, in the time, summer, spring, and until the leaves fall, that building is not going to be at all visible from my neighbor's house. In the meantime, I don't mind planting some pine trees that don't lose their needles. I don't know what else. I mean, that's a good suggestion, and I don't have a problem with that.
I agree with all the other. So thank you for that. I agree with all the other comments about how this got here and the problems with it. So I don't see it as a positive. I mean, I see it as neutral or negative. So I'm just conceptually thinking, how would we feel about it if it was not this way, but it was just a proposal and not an actual building? Would we approve it or not? I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't even get into hypotheticals, but
No, I think we'd ask about screening. I think that's
yeah, we'd
right.
ask about screening and maybe about is there any way of moving it a little bit or something? Yeah. So I'm with everybody else, but I think we should put a note in that if this is approved, that we think it should be screened from the neighboring property to the fullest extent possible.
And would they give me some type of screening that would be satisfactory, whether it be, I suggested pine trees because in the wintertime, they're not going to lose their needles and they're still going to block the view.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, given the height of the building, that might be the best thing. I mean,
Yeah.
EVA normally discuss that, the kind of trees and everything.
But the ZBA will?
Mhm.
Okay.
How many feet is it?
I'm
from the
sorry,
property
I
line?
missed that.
How many feet is it from the property line? I'm missing that. Is it
27,
40,
23. From the
33
side,
feet away?
23 from the side.
Yeah, what's the offset? Yeah.
I think it's 23 feet.
Yeah, it's, they need a 23-foot variance. It's
Okay, all right,
27
thank
feet.
you.
It's
Thank you.
27 feet from the side yard. It should be 50.
Yes, correct.
And there's no way that the building could have been put the other direction. to
Well,
have
it
the
could have
porch
been
back.
put there, but if I put it there, then I can't make the turn. My truck is 24 feet long, my pickup truck with the plow, not including a sander. If I put it closer to my house, then when I come in, see, there you go. There's my pickup truck and there's another truck. So if I put it forward 24 feet and then there's no room to plow the snow, there's no room for me to maneuver. I can hardly get into my garage if I move it forward.
Right, but I mean.
You
that's
could
not
have
gonna
moved
be-
it less than,
Excuse me?
it could have been somewhat closer, even if not fully 50. I don't know. I drafted something with a neutral recommendation. Because I think that's as frankly as charitable as I would feel about this.
I appreciate that, Mr.
Jack.
It's,
I
But-
think the zoning board, I don't know what their reaction to this is. My reaction in going ahead with a building of this size without a permit puts me in a very negative stance on this. But the board will, we have 6 other folks here who are going to vote on this. So, Jack, if you have a resolution,
I do,
and
and,
then we can discuss whether it's going to be neutral or negative.
okay. Whereas applicants Edward and Donna Marie Del Forno seek a recommendation from the Town of Clinton Planning Board pursuant to section 250-95E for an area variance regarding a proposed shed/garage on the 8.18 acre property at 137 Schultzville Road in the Town of Clinton, long number. An applicant states the proposed structure will be 14 by 24 feet, and that including a 40 square foot storage area will have a total area of 376 square feet. Applicants seek a variance because the structure is located only 27 feet from the side of the property. The minimum side setback is 50 feet, and thus applicants seek an area variance of 23 feet. Applicants state they have only a minimal amount of level ground on which the garage can be constructed given the steep hill and shale ledge on other parts of their property, and that without the area variance, trucks and emergency vehicles would not be able to turn around if the shed were built elsewhere. Applying the factors for an area variance set out in section 250-98, excuse me, 98D, the structure will not cause a change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. There is a structure of similar size on the adjoining property and near the proposed shed garage. Applicants state their structure will be landscaped. The benefit sought cannot be achieved by other means given the relatively small amount of level ground in proximity to the driveway on the property. The proposed variance will not have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental condition in the neighborhood. Although the structure will be visible from Schultzville Road, there is, as indicated, a similar sized structure located next to it on the adjoining property. On the other hand, the proposed garage will be visible from and located near to the neighbor's structure. And the variance sought is substantial, and the difficulty is self-created. There is, however, a problem with this application. It was filed only after the zoning enforcement officer issued a violation because no building permit had been granted. At that time, construction was well underway and appears the building was already framed out and sided. Applicants state that they did not know a permit was required for a building of this size, although applicant Ed Del Forno is a licensed real estate broker. Because the role of the planning board regarding area variances is limited to making a recommendation to the zoning board of appeals, and the planning board does not wish to limit any actions the ZBA may or may not choose to make with regard to the fact that construction had advanced to a considerable degree without seeking a building permit. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town of Clinton Planning Board makes a blank recommendation with regard to applicants' request for an area variance to permit them to complete construction of a proposed shed garage that would have a minimum side setback of 27 feet instead of the required 50. Although if the planning board recommends that it be approved, although the planning board recommends that if the ZBA does approve the application, that it be conditioned upon evergreens or other year-round vegetations being planted.
Second.
Okay,
Art, can I just say something on building department wise? So the foundation hasn't been checked because it was poured, so there's no way for us to even check the foundation and the structure of this building, you know?
Well, Arlene, that's true. However, if you look at the side, I think do they require a 4-inch slab? Or a poured slab, is it 4 inches? Because
Yeah, well,
I poured 6 inches, that's evident from the side on top of 5 inches of
Yeah,
compact.
we're just telling you that it did not go to the periodic inspection of the
I
tank,
understand that.
and the
correct,
building
yes.
inspector even said that. So.
Yes, yes.
Okay, discussion?
I could go either way on this one, neutral or negative. It's why the ZBA gets paid the big bucks, and they'll have a public hearing at which I assume the neighbors will have the opportunity to raise their objections.
I'm inclined to go with neutral because I feel like if this was originally brought to us without being built, we'd be inclined to do it. But I certainly understand everybody's point that maybe it could be closer, maybe there was another spot. But just looking at the property and how it's got this plateau thing going on, I understand that we probably would have done a positive if they'd come to us first.
Thank you, Tracy. I understand.
Excuse
Lesson on
me,
that to
excuse me,
check.
we're discussing a motion, so if you
Oh,
can,
okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, we've got to do this, okay?
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It's Paul. I agree with what Tracy said. I would be in this. I agree with everything Tracy said. So I'm good with neutral.
Okay.
Okay, on the resolution, Jack, where you said the planting of evergreens or whatever,
Yep.
could we like add, for purposes of screening from the neighbor's property?
Yep, that's a good thing.
Okay. So we would add, as I can see, people are looking at a neutral recommendation. Can we add neutral to the resolution?
Yes.
Okay, and then we can, so the resolution says neutral, we're adding the screening.
And then can we add that the screening be mature enough to obstruct the view immediately?
Good.
That's good. Thank you, sir.
That would require an awfully expensive bunch of evergreens.
It might.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's that's gonna be our recommendation to the
Okay.
zoning board.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They will make the final decision on that.
Understood. I'm sorry I chimed in.
Yeah. We're not saying that it has to be done. The zoning board will make that final decision
Understood.
on this, okay? Okay, any other discussion on the motion?
Justin, where's Justin? Is Justin here?
I'm sorry, Arlene, I can't hear you.
Justin is missing.
He's here.
All right.
Ask what I think. I don't know what I think.
Okay, all in favor?
Jack.
Tracy, aye.
Art,
Jack.
aye.
Jack.
Sarah, aye.
Very aye.
Okay,
No,
okay.
Jack, are you aye?
I'm an aye, yeah.
Okay, so moved. Okay, your next step is to go before the zoning board of appeals.
I'm not, may I ask how that process worked? And,
Arlene will give you all the details,
okay, thank you.
okay?
Thanks a lot.
All
Appreciate it.
right, you're welcome. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a lot line adjustment for Lack and Winokur. Is that the proper, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Seth, you gotta unmute.
I am. Mark is also here as well, Arlene. He's trying to get in. I believe you've just let him in.
Okay.
Okay, you're here.
Excellent.
Okay, so you have two things up. We're gonna hit the lot line adjustment first, and then the soil erosion and sediment control plan next, okay?
Okay.
So, okay, if you can just briefly explain the lot line adjustment, please?
So Arlene, are you going to put the drawing
Yep,
up?
yep, I'm gonna put it up. Sorry, I lost my screen. Hold on.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you.
So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Seth Stickle. I work with Mark Graminsky. This project is 2 lots. The 2 lots are now owned by Black and Rachel Winokur, the owner applicants. We're proposing, as you said, the lot line alteration and the soil erosion sediment control. We will start with the lot line adjustment. When we had previously spoke in the summer, we had discussed that the client was interested in purchasing the adjoining parcel. Since that time, the client has gone through with that purchase and has purchased the adjoining lot. The westerly most lot is a 10.55 acre lot, which is a flag lot running from 9G along Coyote Ridge Road, almost back to Browns Pond. The easterly lot is a 5.57 acre parcel, which is located adjacent to Browns Pond. Both parcels have right-of-way access along Coyote Ridge, which is a private road. The proposal for the lot line adjustment came about when we were working with both the client and the architects on how to best develop the property for what their development goals were. The clients were looking to build a primary residence of 4 bedrooms, and they were also looking to build a pool house, guest house with 2 bedrooms. Based on looking at the parcels that they had chosen to purchase and how to best accommodate their improvements, we've decided that a lot line adjustment would be the best method for that. Arlene, if you go just down one more page, we'll see, I believe, the first sheet, which is the lot line adjustment sheet. There it is. We are proposing that the most westerly portion, just over, if you could just zoom towards the right side of the screen, right about where your cursor was. If you could just zoom into there, that would be great. We are proposing essentially a swap of land between the 2 parcels. The swap of land coming from the easterly parcel along Browns Pond Road is 1.022 acres that will become part and parcel of the westerly lot. And similarly, a 1.435 acre portion of the westerly lot will now become part of the easterly lot. Both lots, once the lot line alteration has been completed, will be conforming lots. The easterly lot will be a 5.969 acre parcel with a slight increase, and the westerly lot will be a 10.243 acre parcel. Again, the lot line alteration is proposed to accommodate improvements, which we'll get into a little bit more detail when we talk about the soil erosion and sediment control permit. But that is our current proposal for the lot line adjustment.
Okay, Paul?
So, you know, there's nothing objectionable about this proposal, but I would suggest that we look at the full development plan. I think everything that they're asking for has to be done kind of in coordination, if you will. So, you know, I think it may be helpful to the board to see what the development plan looks like and how the structures are going to be arranged before I give you my comments.
So,
we
did you
included-
show the original plat? Which one? I sent you all the final.
No, no,
plans.
what they're proposing with the soil,
Improvement.
with all the
Soil erosion.
structures on it.
The
Because,
next sheet, that is shown on our next.
yeah,
We submitted this as a complete package with both in.
yeah, it's got both. It's got both.
So you want me
Because
to show?
I think what, I think for this, for the soil erosion,
Steep slopes application, right?
thank you. I think that we need to so this is the, maybe you could just go through the, description of what's going on, and then I can give comments. Yeah.
Certainly. If you could just scroll down just a little bit in that photo so that we could see the northern boundary just a bit, Arlene.
You want to show the same page?
Yeah.
This same page, yeah, just want to see a little bit more of the northern portion of the property. Perfect.
Right there.
That's great. So at the center, the very center of the screen, just south of the Lack-Winokur label, you'll see that it says previous division line to be removed. That's the existing property line. Right straight in the center, just to the left of the Kuhn label, it's in that area. And the adjustment to that is shown at the Y of the driveway is where the new proposed line is. This line was selected for multiple reasons to accommodate the proposed buildings. One was for sanitary requirements for setbacks for our proposed sanitary disposal locations. And the other was the ability to easily provide individual driveways from what will be a common driveway leading to both of these, as they will be two individual single-family residential lots. The eastern portion, let's just go back just a little bit. There's an existing access, which is just south of this image here, which is very close to the boundary of the Kuhn property. You're right there. That's perfect, Arlene. Thank you. And that existing access is an old wood road, and there was some development that was done here previously. Some clearing and some other land improvements by a previous owner. When our client had approached us to look into developing the parcel, one of the things that they wanted to do was provide a little bit more screening and privacy to their parcel relative to the adjoining neighbor. So what we've done here is proposed a common driveway for these two lots, which will be relocated just to the west, northwest along Coyote Ridge Road. And that new common driveway will come into the property along the ridge line and then split to at the Y. If we take a right at the Y, we're headed towards the main development. That will be the main house. It's 4 bedrooms. And the improvements are shown. A parking area, a garage, and then the main structure. At the Y, if we were to continue to the north, you'll be headed towards the guest house. The guest house is a proposed 2-bedroom house with a pool. And each of them will have their own individual sanitary disposal systems and water supply wells. For the most part, that is the proposed development plan. Was that what you were looking for, Paul?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. And so, and the dashed area, that area is wetland, isn't it? This sort of hourglass shaped thing.
It is. That is an Army Corps of Engineers wetland.
And there's a creek. I think Crum Elbow Creek goes through here somewhere along the road for part of the way. Anyway, so my general comments are that the board is being asked to approve a soil erosion and sediment control plan. And I can't speak for anybody else on the board, but soil erosion is not one of my specialties. So, what we would, I think we've had 1 or 2 of these, and we've referred them to Pete Sotero for engineering comments. And I think given the scale of this project, we would definitely want to do that. And also, can you just leave the, Arlene, can you leave the drawing up?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay. You know, we could, on the soil erosion issue, we could, you know, declare a lead agency and circulate it. You know, I think we'd want to circulate it to the CAC, the New York DEC, and I guess Dutchess County Soil and Water, you know, because there's some sensitive areas, you know, around these parcels. So, you know, we could do that tonight, get that process going, and my suggestion to the applicants would be, you know, they might want to wait on the lot line, which can be done in one night typically, you know, until those comments have come back to make sure there's no issues with the proposed development plan before the lot line is finalized. The other thing though, one question I do have that maybe Pete would be able to help us with is whether this will also require approval under the wetlands permit under local town law. I assume he will tell us what, you know, any other permits that state or federal permits that they might need, if any. But the proposed driveway, if we could go back to the other drawing, it might help, but
Drawing, which one? The
with
drawing
the
from
development, with the driveways and the septics and because I think the driveway, it looks like it comes close to the creek there, but I couldn't tell for sure. The one conceptual issue when we get the drawing back for Mark and Seth. Okay, so you know, when I looked at this, my first reaction, given these are under common ownership and it's one integrated, you know, plan, is why this isn't rather than a lot line, isn't just a merger of these two parcels. Maybe you if you want to comment on that, because well, maybe if you want to comment on that, then I can tell you what my concern is. Why you wouldn't just merge these two and you have one parcel.
Certainly, when we had originally discussed this with the board, that was our initial approach, was a discussion about consolidation of lots.
We told you not to do it.
No, but what we have come to in working with the client and working with the architect is that they would like to accommodate a building that's a more comfortable size for
that's what I figured.
For the second building. When we would do a consolidation, there are some restrictions that would limit the building development size. So that's why we have gone this route.
So it would require so not only to the planning board application to the ZBA, Paul, or I guess, you know, for size of that structure, right? For size of would be the, you know, the guest house, you know, where the pool is, right? And so wouldn't that also, I think we had the discussion of whether or not that's located in the front yard.
No.
Yeah,
really?
I remember this now.
Okay, but
because 9G might be considered the frontage as opposed to Coyote Road, which is the private.
Yeah, but it wouldn't apply. That wouldn't apply to this.
Okay.
How big would this structure be? I mean, because I'm thinking if it's partly a pool house, maybe that square footage, the pool house square footage wouldn't apply to the living space. You know what I'm saying? You could, in other words, you could have, let's say you had 1,500 square feet, 500 square feet is pool house.
2 bedrooms is going to be bigger.
I mean, it might be, but I just, you know, you are allowed 2 bedrooms under the zoning law, but it just, I don't know, you know, I don't know what they had in mind. The issue, so the reason I raised the issue is if it's going to be 2 parcels, I think the planning board has to deal with it as 2 parcels. And even though it's under common ownership now, eventually at some point it might not be. So what you would end up with is a structure on the pool house structure parcel is landlocked by, you know, it has access through an easement on another property, which is something we're not supposed to have on a flag lot. We just went through this on Willow Lane.
Okay.
And you would have, you know, access through this easement exclusively. I suppose if you could mock up an alternative way of getting access in there, it looks kind of difficult.
It is. That's the way in.
Because I think looking at the old drawings, the way this was originally subdivided, the house was going to be off of Coyote Ridge Road,
Correct.
closer to the road on the.
Yes. Yeah, and when you look at this plan, you look at where the wetland is, it would be to the, to the southwest of that, right? That's the only other location. That's the only way you could have, that's the only accessible, of course, without, in this case, you'd have to span the wetlands. And then it's really, it's too steep. Once you did that, it would be too steep to get to the location where we're showing the structure now. Couldn't do it. Or, well, it would be very difficult.
I just, from a planning perspective, and also I do think the zoning law might actually preclude this, but it's, you have a lot, potentially have a lot, maybe the attitude is, well, if somebody buys it, it's their problem, but you potentially have a parcel that with a house on it and a pool and improvements that they can't access. If there's some issue with this other owner, that's my only issue from a planning perspective. It's not the greatest arrangement.
Okay.
If it's not, if the lots aren't merged.
So then it would be, then we would continue or go back to the zoning administrator and speak to the zoning administrator to see where this falls? If this is a single parcel?
Well, do you have any idea how big they want this pool house to be? I mean, is it going to be, well, yeah, I mean, that's actually not a bad idea. In other words, if it's a hybrid of, it's partly a recreational space for the pool and partly a living space, how does that break down, and how does he interpret the zoning law when it comes to that?
Okay.
That might be the solution.
And then also, and so you don't think, and because I thought it was also the front yard, I thought it would be an area variance for,
well, if that were the only, if that is in fact an issue, I'm not sure why it would be, but I can't imagine that you wouldn't get that, because it's not, this is not a typical situation of, it's not even anywhere near the road. It's a technical issue.
Right, okay.
If that were the only impediment, I can't believe that would be that would be something, it would seem to be a minor issue.
Okay.
I think the size of the building is going to be the real issue.
Okay.
But you don't know how big they
the size of the building? Paul,
What?
can you get a variance for the size of the building?
Yeah, you could. I just don't know. If it's 2,000 square feet, that would be pushing it, right? I mean, if it were 1,100 square, maybe maybe they would get or 1,200, maybe they would get it.
So you're saying that they could maybe apportion part of it to being the pool house?
That's what if the zoning administrator, agreed with that, I would think that would be, I think that's better than having two different parcels with an easement and I mean, I would think if that's possible, yeah. And if he says, well, you need a variance, what kind of variance are we talking about? Is it not, not a particularly, significant one, maybe that's the way to go.
Okay.
But if
Creating a landlocked.
well, if the board thinks, I mean, I was just flagging the issue for the board. If the board isn't concerned about it, then, then I can, the way I read the provisions for rear lots is that you can't have access through, it has to be access through the lot itself. Not through, not through an easement, but that was, remember we had Willow Lane where they wanted to access through an easement.
I remember that one, yeah.
And yeah, and I mean, and you can, I think you can have the access through a common driveway, but there has to be a way of getting in, that.
Yeah,
alternative way.
it's just not able to have another driveway put in all the way up there, right?
It doesn't.
It's very
Mark,
steep.
It looks like, right, Mark, you couldn't get another driveway in there, right?
That's a very steep slope to come up, in that one area, and then spanning the wetlands. It just would be, nothing's impossible. It would be very, very complex.
You'd have to span the wetland, and it's such a steep slope to come up. Very, very difficult to do. Not practical. Let's just put it that way.
on other things, we have just said if you could do it, putting cost aside, that we accepted that.
So we may be able to show you a conceptual alternative for a driveway.
Well, yeah, I think
Yeah,
with
but-
I think in other situations, there have been times when the driveway was going to be really expensive if they had to put it in, but they could show that they could put it in.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
Well, then the lot line adjustment itself, I mean, you can see there potentially you could get another driveway to the main house. So why not leave the lot line so that the driveway is on the other parcel?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
um,
I mean,
Uh,
because
I-
there is
I
the
see.
old, you said there's an old wood road that comes up to the main house. You can see it drawn in.
Yes.
right.
So technically there is access to the main house with another driveway. So why not leave the pool house with the existing?
oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying have the pool house keep that piece,
That driveway, yeah.
and then the driveway is actually on the pool house parcel.
Correct,
So then it would be the main house that had to show the other driveway.
correct.
That would be good.
That's not a bad idea. That's a good idea.
Septics as well.
But you didn't, yeah. Okay, well, that's another way of doing it, right?
I mean, I don't know about the feasibility, but I'm just throwing it out there.
Talking about running a property line like this.
Yeah, so in order to make the lots 5 acres, which is the required
Oh, right, that's the problem.
acreage, we would be removing
Yeah,
a
you're losing
larger
the
section
corner.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have
Good
done
idea.
some pretty substantial deep testing and soils testing for septic systems, and the only viable locations on the site are the ones shown as chosen. There's a lot of rock out here, and so the viable sanitary disposal locations are shown. We need to maintain. We would need to maintain those on their individual lots as well. So it is possible to take a look at reconfiguring that line, but those are just some of the things that we thought about, and that's why we've placed it where it is now. The clients have also shown some desire to have, 2 separate parcels as opposed to a combined parcel.
Yeah, but if you just came up that dotted line until it meets where the 2 driveways split off, and then hang your right in the property line you've already proposed.
We'll have to look at what the area does to the most easterly parcel.
Correct.
We're right now at 5.969 acres with this lot line adjustment. The existing parcel is 5.557. I'm guessing you're suggesting is greater than half of an acre.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So maybe, I mean, if there are more comments, great, but I mean, maybe what we could do is start the process for well, do you think you would reconfigure this plan? In which case we wouldn't want to circulate anything, right?
Yeah, I think we'd want to take a look at it and have a discussion with the clients about this before we do any circulation, Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think meeting with the zoning officer and discuss the plan with him a little bit.
Okay.
Before, we start going ahead with escrows and this and that, until you get this firm where we can go. I'm sure this can be worked out. There's enough land and whatever to work it out.
We have escrow. We have escrow going back for the town engineer. Art.
Yeah, that's good.
And certainly not to waste the board's time, but Arlene, is it a direct meeting with the zoning administrator? Is it a Zoom meeting with the zoning?
Zoom.
Zoom, okay.
I mean, I if I could help, I could be part of that if you want to.
That'd be great,
That'd
Paul.
be great.
Yes.
Then it's so that he's doing them by Zoom? Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And Arlene, how do we schedule that?
We gotta set up a meeting. I gotta set up a Zoom.
Yeah, how do we schedule that?
I'm gonna, I'm gonna coordinate his time, your time, Paul, you know.
Okay. All right, so what we'll do is we'll go back and we'll talk to our clients and then we'll reach out to Paul and Arlene to schedule a time with the zoning administrator to discuss this.
That sounds good. I think that's the logical way to go. This way we don't have to make too many changes. And spend a lot of extra time.
Okay,
Okay?
great.
All right. Sounds good. Thank
Okay.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I sent you the revised agenda, Art.
I'm sorry, Arlene. I have a tough time understanding you. I'm not getting you.
I sent you the revised agenda.
Oh, yes.
So we have the
Charles.
discussion.
Yes. Yeah, why don't we, we've still got everybody here. Why don't we talk about that? I'm slightly confused. I don't see why, I don't quite understand why we have to change procedures on this thing, but Paul, you're kind of heading this thing?
It was
Justin,
Justin.
I'm sorry.
So my understanding is that, right, that we did the Charles subdivision at the last meeting. This is the, it was on two sides of the road, and we had them put in a illustrative location for a possible house and a location for a possible driveway. They went to file that with the Dutchess County Board of Health, who said that they cannot file it with those locations because they're not approved, right? And they weren't seeking approval for them. We just asked to be shown that a possible location exists. So they have come back and said, can we amend our resolution to permit them to delete those illustrative locations to file a clean map, right? That shows the existing house and an empty parcel, right? That's what they're asking for. That's what it is. That's what they'd like to file. But we approved a map with a fake house and a fake driveway on it.
can I say something, Art? So basically, the Department of Health, I spoke with the Department of Health today. So because it's not Board of Health approved yet, because the building envelope is not really, it's theoretical. It's not like the other subdivision that there's a septic, there's everything that's leach field and everything. This one doesn't have it. They are just putting that location. Department of Health doesn't want to sign off on anything that is theoretical. So it's considered non-realty subdivision. If we remove the building envelope, they will sign up on it, and it's a non-realty.
If we remove the building envelope so that it's one lot has got a house on it already, the other lot has nothing.
It's a non-realty subdivision
But-
code.
But don't we, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but don't we have to when we approve a lot, a subdivision, don't we have to have a driveway and a building envelope?
No, what we told them, right, because they have no plans to build, right? We didn't approve any kind of building. They just want to divide it into raw land. And what we told them is, if you want to divide it into raw land, you have to show us that it is a potentially buildable lot in the future. So there has to be some driveway and some building. The Board of Health is saying if they put those fake building and driveway on there, it could be construed as an approval, which they're not giving, right? We just wanted to see that it was possible. They showed us it was possible, right? They spent a lot of money to show us it was possible. But at the end of the day, all they want is a vacant piece of land.
Okay, do we have any comments from anybody on this?
Paul, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I think with Justin, I mean, it's frustrating because the stamp that they signed says there's no approval sought nor given, and it's on the map. So there's just, you know, it's a little bit of overkill, but I don't think there's any harm. It's exactly, these were just theoretical locations. They weren't mandated. So taking them off doesn't hurt anything. And if it's the way they can get it signed, I think we should just do it.
Well, how about the driveway situation?
Well, Justin, they said they're going to leave the little cut in there. They just can't have the whole, I don't know why they can't put the driveway, but anyway, they can leave the cut, but they can't put the rest of it.
Right, so you'd see the entrance, right? You'd see the theoretical entrance.
Okay. Well, then I guess that would make sense then. What does everybody feel about that?
I'm fine with it because I think we did that just to prove to ourselves it would work. I think that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
How about everybody else?
It makes sense. I mean, you know,
Okay,
Do we then keep our required map on file? So if anybody ever comes back looking for, gee, you know, how did this lot get created when you can't build here? And we would say, oh, but we knew they could because here we have this. Is that something we save?
That's a really good question.
yeah.
I think Arlene has every piece of paper that's ever crossed our desks.
I was thinking about that.
Map.
I was thinking, sorry, I was just thinking about that. I mean, we have Chazen's representation that you can build a driveway and you can build a house. So, I think we should keep them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, so down the road, you know, 4 owners from now, when somebody tries to build and we're all long gone off the board, somebody can go, well, why did we create this lot? And, you know, where you couldn't build. It's like, oh, wait, yes, we were told you could.
Well, that is not really those building envelope, that's not Board of Health approved. You gotta remember, the Department of Health will approve where the septic, where the well and everything. So that's just theoretical on the part of the surveyor. That's not really.
Yeah, but they represented to us in a drawing and verbally and in writing that it was buildable. So I think we were covered, to Sarah's point. Right.
I just want to say, do we keep that documentation?
Yeah.
That, like, you know, is there a big fat ass cover letter that says, you know, we approved this because we were told by Chazen it is buildable,
Well,
as
if
opposed to someone
Chazen-
having to dig for it?
I think if Chazen is willing to certify that is buildable, that portion, I mean.
They already did.
They already did, yeah. I would suggest doing another motion now to do it and just restate, right? I think our earlier motion that we approved this on January 5th. We saw a map. We had Chazen come in. They confirmed there was a buildable space for a house. There was a buildable space for a driveway. We approved it on those grounds. We're now, you know, approving their request to remove the illustrative locations of the house and the driveway in order for them to file it with the Board of Health, right?
Yeah,
Just
for the
document
purpose
the
of filing, just put for the purpose of filing, this way those building envelope is still good, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna file the map to the county, that filed map is gonna be there for years, forever. So, but the one with the building envelope, I'm gonna have that copy, that's not gonna be on the county, that's not gonna be on the record, but we could put a reference to it.
Okay.
Just include it on your resolution. This way, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we're all not here. They know where to dig.
How does that sound?
Fine.
Okay, so can you do, Justin, can you do another addendum to that resolution?
I think we can just do a quick resolution right now.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm gonna wing it, but, you know, go with me and I'll make it sound nice. But like, whereas on January 5th, 2021, the planning board approved a resolution granting preliminary plan approval and conditional final plan approval in the matter of the Charles subdivision, whereas the planning board reviewed and approved a map that showed a buildable location for a house and a feasible location for a driveway, which locations were confirmed by Chazen. Now therefore, I say, and whereas the Dutchess County Board of Health has requested that the applicants remove the illustrative locations for the house and driveway from the map to be filed. Therefore, the planning board hereby grants approval for the Charles applicants to remove the illustrative locations of the possible house and driveway sites from the map in order to conform with the Dutchess County Board of Health request.
Second.
Second. Oh,
Discussion?
Do you want to simplify it? It's just to amend the motion that we approved before to remove the building envelope and driveway on the filed map for filing purposes. And the rest remains the same.
I'm a lawyer. I don't want to simplify anything.
Your legal verbiage.
It is fine.
Well, I use one sentence and I can write 3 paragraphs.
I like the second one because it's a separate situation. I mean, I don't want to go back. I don't
Well,
think.
that's what it is this way. It's the both resolution is good, you know, the other one is just amendment for filing. But you could just recraft it later, Justin, with your legal verbiage.
I think I just did a great job.
I agree.
thought
That
it
was
sounded
great.
fine, frankly.
You did great.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Art, aye.
Justin,
Jack,
aye.
Jerry,
Tracy, I.
Sarah, I.
Paul, I.
Okay, so moved. Okay. Okay, we have an announcement to make. And our longest member, well, I guess
Two of you.
self and the young lady there who is leaving us. We've been here 18 years now. So
Oh, 18.
Yeah, long time.
long time.
That's, I think your community service, you've earned your badge.
You're not kidding.
Yeah, and then some.
We have been through the wars, right, State?
Yep.
But she has graciously said she would stay on for a while until we get somebody else. And I hope we can do that quickly. If anybody has any people who are interested,
Females. Oh, sorry.
let them know that they've got to contact the, I guess, Ray Oberly, right, Arlene?
Yes. Yes.
I have somebody, and if anybody else has got folks that are interested, explain to them what's entailed. And
Maybe don't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, don't lie to them, actually, is what you have to do.
Tracy did a great job of that with me.
So, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You have been a rock on the board
Well,
through many. We've gone through a lot of people, haven't we?
especially seeing that Coyote Ridge map.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the bot ball.
You remember going up there with Elliot? Oh,
Bot
it was
ball.
like our first.
Remember when he did the explosion over there?
Yeah, and that was the original owner of that, this guy named Botball, who was really a character.
Lived next door to me, yeah.
Wound up just devastating that ridge up there. He clear cut it. But we did get him. He had to replant, so, because half the hill was rolling down to somebody's farm, so.
Adrian's, right? It was rolling down to the Adrian's farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, okay. Does anybody else have anything, or is Dean here?
No, Dean.
No Dean.
Hey, I have the minutes.
Yes, the minutes of the December 15th. Has anybody got a motion? Jerry, you're the best at this.
Jerry,
Accept the minutes.
thank you.
Okay,
Oh, just.
we got a motion
reminder.
on the floor. Arlie, let me finish this. Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, discussion? All in favor? Art, aye.
Justin, I.
Jack, aye.
Oh, I,
SCI.
Sarah, I.
So moved. Okay, Arlene.
Reminder about your training hours, 4 hours
Oh,
a
yeah,
week.
right.
So there are like the virtual via Zoom, so you could do like Sarah did. Sarah did already her 4 hours this year. Jerry
Not this
did.
year. I did, well, that's right, because they carry over.
Yeah,
so
because
I did.
carry on from last year.
I did mine.
I did mine.
Yeah, Jerry did, Paul, Jack, and Justin, and Art.
I have not done mine.
Me either.
You're gonna get fired, so you better do yours.
I did
Oh
mine.
my God, that break my heart.
That's what they said. I was like to the town clerk, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fire all the town, the planning board? We're not
Arlene,
gonna have board.
Arlene, when you get a chance, and there is no rush in my mind, could you just send me an email with the list of places that what one does to sign up for the training?
Sure. I thought they normally send it to you. Jerry
No.
gets it, Paul gets it. You
Well,
don't get it?
I don't get nothing. I'm
Yeah, I
trying to
didn't-
sign up
I
for
didn't
that
get them
vaccine.
either.
I'm not getting any of that either. So this is part of the course.
Okay. Okay, thank you, everybody. Nice job tonight. Do we have a motion to
Motion
adjourn?
to adjourn.
Give me a second.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.